In previous lecture, we had discussed about the primitive and non-primitive scheduling, and we had also discussed about the CPU scheduler and dispatcher. Now in this lecture, we will understand the scheduling criterias. A different CPU scheduling algorithm have different properties, and the choice of a particular algorithm may favor one class of processes over another. In choosing which algorithm to use in a particular situation, we must consider the property of various algorithm. So, many criteria have been suggested for comparing CPU scheduling algorithm. Which characteristics are used for comparison can make a substantial difference in which algorithm is judged to be best. The criteria includes the following: the CPU utilization, throughput, turnover time, waiting time, and response time. Now let us discuss one by one. So these are the CPU scheduling criterias. The first one is the CPU utilization. In CPU utilization, we want to keep the CPU as busy as possible. The conceptually CPU utilization can range from 0 to 100%. In real system, it should range from 40% to 90%. Means for lightly loaded system it is 40% and for heavily used system is 90%. So we want to keep the CPU as possible as, right? So this is the first characteristics of CPU scheduling algorithm, or we can say this is the first scheduling criteria for CPU scheduling algorithm. The second one is the throughput. If the CPU is busy executing the processes, then work is being done. One measure of work is the number of processes that are completed per time unit, which is called throughput. For long processes, this rate may be one process per hour. For short transaction, it may be 10 processes per second. So this is the throughput. So if the CPU is busy executing the processes, the work is being done. Means we are keeping the CPU busy all the time executing the processes. So we can measure this work in the number of processes that are completed, its execution per time unit, which is called throughput. The third characteristics for the CPU scheduling algorithm is turnover time. Now the turnover time is from the point of view of a particular process. If we talk about this turnover time, the important criteria is how long it takes to execute that process. How long, right? We are saying that how long it takes to execute that process. The interval from the time of submission of the process to the time of completion is the turnaround time. So turnaround time is the sum of the period spent waiting in ready queue, executing on the CPU and doing IO operation, right? So the turnaround time is the sum of period spent waiting to get the memory, waiting in the ready queue, executing on the CPU and doing the IO operation. So the interval from the time of submission of the process to the time of completion. The submission, we are saying that completion time minus submission time is the turnaround time of the process. The fourth is the waiting time. The CPU scheduling algorithm does not affect the amount of time duration which the process executing or does IO. It affects only the amount of time that the process spent waiting in the ready queue. Means we are talking about a process cannot affect the amount of time or the duration which is getting processed in the CPU or performing IO operation. It affects only the amount of time that a process spends waiting in a ready queue. So it is waiting in a ready queue for a longer time, then we are saying that it is affecting that process because it is waiting from since so long. So waiting time is the sum of the period spent waiting in the ready queue. So in the next lecture we will understand through the Gantt chart also. In Gantt chart we will show you how the process are scheduled to execute in the CPU and how you can calculate this waiting time, turnaround time, etc. Now just I want to show the simple example here. So I am writing P1, P2, P3, P4 and P5. So assume that we have 5 processes. Now the submission time of this P1 is 0. So the waiting time for the P1 is 0. But whereas assume that this is first come FCFS. So we are having FCFS CPU scheduling algorithm, right? So we are using this FCFS, first come first serve CPU scheduling algorithm. So P1 required 5 seconds of time. So it is executing, means there is no time to there is no waiting time for P1. So 0 is the waiting time for P1, whereas a P1 is getting 5 seconds to complete, then the waiting time for the P2 become 5. Similarly, P2 is also having a 6 microsecond of burst time. So it taken 5 millisecond, it takes 6 millisecond, means 11. So 11 is the completion time for P2. Now P3 is waiting for 11 millisecond, right? Similarly, P3 need 5 millisecond. Then again the P4 is waiting for 16 millisecond and P4 need another 5 millisecond to execute its process, its instructions. Then the 21 is the next number, means 21 second the P5 has to wait. So this is the waiting time. So therefore we are saying that CPU scheduling algorithm does not affect the amount of time during which the process execution or executes or does IO, means how much it is executing, how much time it is taking to execute and perform the IO operation. It doesn't affect the process, it doesn't affect the CPU scheduling algorithm, but it affects only the amount of time the process spends in the waiting in the ready queue. So assume that the P5 is waiting for 21 seconds to get the CPU, right? So this 21 second is the waiting time for the P5 process. Similarly, there is a P4 which is waiting for 16 millisecond. And similarly, if you see the P3 is waiting for 11 millisecond and P2 is waiting for 5 millisecond and P1 is waiting for 0 millisecond, right? So this is the waiting time. Now the fifth one, that is the response time. In an interactive system, a turnaround time may not be the best criteria. We cannot say that the best criteria is the time turnaround time in interactive system. Often the process can produce some output fairly early and can continue computing a new result while previous results are being output to the user. Thus, another measure is the time from the submission of the request until the first response is produced. That is the response time. So, this measure is called as response time, and it is the time it takes to start responding, not the time it takes to output the response. The turnaround time is generally limited by the speed of the output device, right? So therefore, in interactive system, the turnaround time may not affect the best criteria, may not be the best criteria to measure the interactive system. So the often the process can produce some output fairly early and can continue computing a new result while previous results are being output to the user, right? So thus another measure, so we say that thus another measure is the time from the submission of the request until the first response is produced. So this measure is called as response time. Response time means the first response we are getting from the request. Okay, the time it takes to start responding, not the time it takes to output the response. Okay, right. So these are all the five characteristics used to comparison substantially differentiate in which the algorithm is judged to be the best. So many criteria have been suggested for comparing the CPU scheduling algorithm. So these five are the substantial comparisons to the CPU scheduling algorithm to judge which one is the best. So the conclusion is it is desirable to maximize the CPU utilization and throughput and to minimize the turnaround time, waiting time and response time. So all these five criteria are there. So we want to maximize the CPU utilization. This is the first characteristics, right? Or we can say the first criteria of the CPU scheduling. So CPU scheduling criteria, we have to maximize the CPU utilization, we have to maximize its throughput, and we have to minimize the turnaround time, waiting time and response time, right? So this is the first one, this is the first criteria, this is the second criteria, right? These two should be maximized. CPU utilization should be maximized by multi-programming, right? By allocating n number of processes at a time to the CPU and making a CPU to continuously execute processes and throughput, right? So by keeping the CPU busy executing the processes, we can make sure that we can get more result, more number of processes can be completed with a given time period is called as throughput. So we can maximize these two criterias and minimize the three other criteria like turnaround time should be less, waiting time should be minimized and response time should be minimized, right? So that it is desirable to maximize the CPU utilization, throughput and to minimize turnaround, waiting time and response time. Okay, right. So these are the scheduling criterias what we have. In next lecture, we will discuss and understand the CPU scheduling algorithm and also we will illustrate their operation. So thank you for watching. See you in next lecture. Thank you.